Hello, everybody. I'm Gary Lucas. We're trying it another way, a new position. Assume the position. It's 7/11, 2020, Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock here in New York City. And it isn't a fit afternoon out for man nor beast, I have to say. We just came from outside. It's about 100 degrees here. And it did rain for a bit. It's been raining intermittently, and that helps things a little bit. And I was actually all set to play for you over in the my former window perch, but the sun just came out, so it rapidly is overheating, and I don't want to interrupt the stream. Okay, and then you can't step in the same river twice. Don't forget Heraclitus. Comes a little. Okay, there you have it. Walk on the Wild Side. Not the Lou Reed song of the same name, but the original theme from, and actually a very good film. I kind of like this film. It's gotten mixed reviews over the years, based on Nelson Algren's book, Walk on the Wild Side, and starring Laurence Harvey with Capucine, great French film actress, and a young Jane Fonda, who's busting out all over in this film. You have to see her to believe her. We love Jane, and that's a shout out to Fred Perry right there, because his brother, Richard, was Jane's main squeeze for a few years there. I guess no more, I'm sorry to say, but I'm sure it was a fun ride. And well, let's see. I mean, all right, I have a bottleneck somewhere over here. Where could that be now? My glass. Oh, here it is. Okay. Now we could do. I'm giving lessons to a couple of guys, and I want to invite you to solicit my instructional skills here. I'm a very patient teacher at all levels of guitar, and anyway, just contact me at Gary@GaryLucas.com. Enough said. All right, so we had some fantastic. I had a fantastic time last time with some great people contributing here to the Fresh Air Fund. Now, Natalie Manis said, "Thank you, Gary, for what you do. A pleasure to listen to you 3 times a week. It's a pleasure to know you, Natalie, and I hope you enjoyed the track." And I want to say I have a great studio track called "Take Me to the Casbah." And yeah, my friend David Conop just reminded me, I think I wrote it in Clamart, France, when I was up teaching at the Henri Dutilleux Conservatoire de la Musique, right outside Paris a few years ago. I don't know, I was super inspired in those days. And that's what happens. I can't force these things, folks. They just come when they come. Okay, David Stovall, always glad to chip into a cause that helps new music get made and get back. Well, I don't know. I can't even read my writing. I'm like a doctor, I guess. Love every minute of your half-hour set. They raise my spirits for sure. Stay safe and sane. Well, you can see the sanity part of the clause there is the main issue, because I don't know, I gotta say, there's a lot of what Don Van Vliet would call bad vugum about in the West Village these days. I don't much venture out beyond a 1 or 2 block circumference around our apartment building here. But there's a hyper-aggressivity of people, masked and unmasked, and there's still plenty of fuckers, running around without masks. I don't get it. Why are these people so entitled, I ask you, when all of the data is pointing to incredible spikes in the viral population now, probably as a result of not wearing masks. And also, I watch Seinfeld every night here on Channel 11, and in that hour they have back-to-back episodes. There must be, 6, 7, 8 ads for Kia and some other car manufacturers, all touting the great American road trip. Like, you suffered and now it's our turn. Why don't you take and get back on the great American road trip tip? It's actually these road trips, apparently, that's causing the spikes as people, get in their conveyances and asymptomatic people and carry it willy-nilly across state lines and following I-95 or whatever. And anyway, I don't drive anymore, as I might have mentioned, so it isn't me. But you really have to watch that, you guys, or wear a mask constantly, maybe in your car too, if you can. Now, also, Tony Galtieri contributed, thank you. Olaf Janssen, thanks for the music you play on Facebook. Well, I love playing this music for you. Jonathan Luftig, once again, this guy is like a multiple donor, really. And Don Van Vliet had a song about donations. It's a little salty, so I won't repeat it here, but maybe at another opportunity. Jim Marshall, thank you. He's my good friend, James Marshall, the Hound, who does a radio show, had a regular show on WFMU that was a must listen. This guy knows more about black music, particularly obscure R&B sides, than anybody I've ever met. And a very erudite guy. And he's the main squeeze of Gillian McCain, who runs the Please Kill Me website, which I would direct you to. Really good stuff. Thank you, Jim. Claire Delabarre Debay, my French friend Claire Delabarre Delay, received your message, and I will be delighted to receive your new solo acoustic guitar fireworks a la Gary. And of course, mainly to support you. That's what we like to hear. It is not much, but as we say in French, now hold on. Les petits ruisseaux font les grandes rivières. Let's see, little streams make the big rivers. Yes, indeed. All the best for you, and keep giving us happiness with music. I aim to please. I'm a short order chef of amusement here. Mark Green, I already gave you a shout out. Christian Sabot, also last time. But let's get back to music. And I think I'll switch over, come to think of it, to the electric guitar. And, okay, this little baby, the green monster here, I acquired from the people called Rumble Seat Music. I don't know if they're still extant. They used to operate out of Ithaca, New York, up in Cornell vicinity. And after I had this tragic loss of my 1964 Strat on a train, which I think I've told that story before, but basically I was kind of out of it, and I was coming back from a trip to New Haven. And I just left it, and they ordered everybody out of the train because a fire broke out on the track underneath the train. It was still in the station, and all the smoke billowed up into the compartments. I went racing out of there, and without realizing, I had my 64 Strat up on a luggage rack. And I got on the other train, and the doors closed, and I said, oh dear, I left that guitar up there. So I got busy on my cell phone and called the station masters and the police and the insurance company, whatever, and I went and looked in the lost and found at Grand Central the next couple of days. But no luck. However, and I would urge all of you guitarists out there, owners of valuable musical instruments, I had insured the guitar, and I filed for a claim, and my good friend Rick Kelly over at Carmine Street Guitars vouched for the worth of the guitar being at least $10,000. I got him insured for $20,000. And a check arrived from the insurer, music instrument insurance company. I don't know. You'll find it if you go online. And I opened the check, and I marched a check for 10,000 Iron Men. So I went and took that money and judiciously kept most of it, but paid $3,000 for this guitar, and the 66. basis for some music. That was some music I wrote. I did a track with Felice Rosser. She's a great singer and bassist, and has had a band called Faith, one of the Black Rock Coalition bands originally here in New York. And Felice and David Sisko and I cooked up a track. I think it's on my SoundCloud page. It's really good. And then I also used this music for a bit of a score, a live score I did in Amsterdam for the Holland Festival at the Stadschouwburg, taking Abel Gance's 3 hours masterpiece, J'accuse, no relation to the Émile Zola book of the same name, but a great, powerful anti-war film in its own right, and statements, and that music occurred in one scene. It was a lot of fun doing that score. And God knows we sold the joint out. A pretty big auditorium 2 nights in a row with standing ovations. And I wish you could have been there. I wish the clip still existed too, because the people at the Film Museum there elected to take them down off YouTube with our music on it when they commissioned another composer to do a score for the same film. Like, these two things couldn't coexist. They didn't want the competition. I don't really understand it. Oh, well. Ours is not to reason why, but sometimes you gotta wonder. So, all right. I want to give a shout out now, especially to one of my oldest and dearest friends. And that would be my friend Bob Rubin, who you may know on Facebook as Robert Melvin Rubin. I've got this fantastic book that he just sent me very kindly. So I'm going to do a little show and tell here, okay? Now, I know it's backwards, but I think that's the Marlboro Man. Yes, it looks like it's, it's one of Richard Prince's. There's Richard's name backwards. This is an effect, by the way, folks, of trying to do stuff on live streaming on Facebook when you don't have a camera person shooting you. You get these reverse images, so everybody says, you're not left-handed. That's true, I'm not. But I'm not trying to pretend to either. But anyway, so he has a book all about cowboys and the American and international world imagination. That's a sumptuous feast to behold. And here we have Bob Dylan, who's a happy roving cowboy. I love his new album. I mean, Bob curated this book and wrote the text, and the text is so enriching, deep, full of information, and then you get the images. I mean, I can't really do justice to it here, but you should definitely check this book out. It's fantastic. If you ever had any affinities here, Bo Diddley is a gunslinger. One of our favorite Bo Diddley albums. Can you see this here? I mean, this thing weighs a ton. It's like a catalog raisonné all about cowboys with film artifacts, paintings of the Old West, photos, pulp covers of here's some good stuff. There's a whole chapter on cowboys, sexy cowgirls and cowboys of all political and extra psychosexual denominations. That's a real good read. Dude Ranch Nurse. I think that's a Sonic Youth tune. Anyway, I could go on and on and on, but this is a good one too. Yeah, the juxtaposition on the page of these images are too much. So anyway, check this thing out, because Bob Rubin really did a mitzvah here, and Richard Prince. I'd love to see the full exhibition of all this material. I guess that's probably coming. So once again, it's on Prestel Publishing, and Amazon.com has copies of it. That's probably the best place to get it at the moment. And Richard Prince Cowboy, edited and introduced by Robert M. Rubin. Check it out. And I'll switch over now to the steel guitar. And let's see. I'm up on this chair. It's about as high as it goes. Let's see if I can angle this a little bit. Yeah, it's better, Yeah, that's called "That's My Life," and I'll just take you back a little bit. I wrote this, I think, in a hotel room in Cologne, Germany, in Köln, many years ago. I was there visiting and playing. I was on a European tour, and it was the summer, and they had a hotel. They probably still do, called the Hotel Chelsea. Now, where'd that come from? I think the owner was enamored of the actual Chelsea Hotel, which, as you probably have heard, is closed as a regular hotel, and now it's like apartments. But back in the day, the Chelsea was the epicenter of, well, not the virus, well, maybe some viruses, but also of bohemian life in New York. I mean, one of them, in a very concentrated kind of a way. People had long-term leases on apartments that were pretty fabulous in there, and also some smaller spaces. And I guess Leonard Cohen lived there, and Nico and Dylan maybe lived there for a while, but they would all visit there. I mean, it was a big boho hangout. Anyway, so the Chelsea in Cologne was not quite on that scale, but the guy who ran it was quite an art aficionado and collector, and actually was allowing young artists to live in the hotel rent-free in exchange for some of their work, which he was collecting. And my friend David Scher is quite a good artist. Hi, David. He was in there, and we met. Anyway, he said, listen, my friend Udo Kier, great Udo Kier, he lives in Cologne. I've become friends with him, and he's coming here tonight. And I was like, what, Udo? I love Udo Kier. Now, I knew his work from the films by, well, they're titled Andy Warhol's Dracula and Andy Warhol's Frankenstein. But actually, Paul Morrissey was the actual director, great Paul Morrissey, and did all the heavy lifting for these films. And Udo is indeed Baron Frankenstein and also Count Dracula in there. And he's quite hilarious. He's a character if you know his work. He's right up there in my book with Klaus Kinski, let's say, with the advantage that he's alive. He's still alive. And they were doing a fete of Udo at the Transylvania Film Festival where I was playing. I guess it was the year before I played there, but I saw posters for it. I wish I had seen it. So anyway, Udo showed up, and he was quite striking, and he invited us that night to his house, which was at the end of the tram line running through Cologne. Well, it was actually where the farthest point from the city, where it then wheeled around in a loop to go back to Cologne. So, he lived in an old house. It was kind of like the station master's house, but really beautiful. And he had the most fantastic art collection in there, including Warhol's and a lot of original work that was gifted to him. And anyway, we went out to the backyard for a bit, and we started to relax. And I was playing the steel guitar, and I started that piece. And he said, "What's the name of that?" And I said, "That's My Life." So he, on the spot, improvised the most hilarious spoken word improv, and then chimed in on the chorus, "And that's my life," in a very thick German accent. That was quite amusing. I'm still chuckling about it all these years later, because the text was on the order of the improv. I woke up this morning and I went out and I bought new pink shower curtains for my house, and I came home with my little dog was saying, "And that's my life." So he went back and forth from the most mundane description of his daily routine to a blues declamation. Anyway, I wish you could have been there. I wish I had tape recorded it. I have some pictures that were taken in Udo's garden that I'll treasure in my heart forever. So I'll play one last little thing here. There's an extra Philip. And oh yes, please do check out this track, "Take Me to the Casbah." That's the name of it, which is a beautiful recording done with this guitar, but with the pickup in the guitar taken through a Marshall stack in Prague. A few years ago at Faust Studios, my friend Richard Matter has a fantastic recording complex. If you're going to Prague and you feel like recording, contact him and use my name. And so "Take Me to the Casbah" is available for download, and I will personally send you a WAV file, best quality file you can get, for the mere price of $20. So anybody watching this today wants to contribute at least $20 gets this file. Anything less than that, I'm sorry, I have to close the iron door on you. And until next time. So what have we got left? Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's all until Tuesday. Tune again on Tuesday. And until that time, stay safe, be well. I love you madly. Live here from the Rubber Room in the West Village. I be Gary Lucas. It was a pleasure playing for you as always. All right, stay safe, wear the damn mask. Okay, see you on Tuesday.